Welcome to the City Council meeting for Monday, September 16th, 2019. We have in attendance with us tonight the following city officials: Mayor Kathy Kennedy Perry, Safety Service Director Barb Sylvester, Law Director Andrew Escaza, Economic Development Director David Maley, Fire Chief John Burkhauser, and Attorney for the Union Leslie Kuntz.
No, I'm sorry, for the city.
For the city? For the city, Leslie Kuntz, thank you. On the wall on your left are agendas for anyone wishing to follow along with tonight's meeting. Under number 5 on the agenda is where the public can speak on any item that appears on tonight's agenda, and then again under number 17 is where the public can speak on any item that does not appear on tonight's agenda. I would like to remind you, if you have a cell phone, to either set it to mute, vibrate, or turn it off. Roll call.
Creamer,
Present.
Cunningham,
Present.
Gregg,
Here.
Harris,
Here.
Irwin,
Here.
Lewis,
Present.
Littman,
Here.
Nansen,
Here.
and Sterry.
Here.
Roll call of 9 present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All present and accounted for. Councilman Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. If you would, if you are so inclined, please stand and join us in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Harris. Madam Clerk, are the minutes of the previous meeting transcribed and open for public viewing?
No, I'm still working on, but they should be published tomorrow on the website.
Thank you. We're at number 5 on the agenda. For anyone from the audience may come forward to speak on any matter that is on tonight's agenda. If you wish to do so, come forward, state your name, address, and topic you wish to discuss. And please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Bruce Varson. It's V-R-S-A-N. My address is 1211 Spring Hill Avenue, Northeast Massillon, Ohio. And I am opposing, as I said earlier, case number 2103, and that's a variance that was sought by Gary and Linda Miller under a side lot. The standard setback rule is 12 feet. They want it to be 5 feet 6 inches. Now I'm 6 feet tall, so that's less of a distance than I am tall. And one of the things that was advertised about Spring Hill back in the 60s, when they built, I had an advertising brochure, it got destroyed when I got my house broken into. But they advertised wide, big lots. That was the appeal in the historic area, in an area that had farming to it, as agricultural area. Well, now having your neighbor 5 feet 6 inches away from your property line, I think that goes against the ambiance that people sought when they purchased their homes. And so I'm opposing it. I don't know how many of you people have your homes, and this is, I'm not asking a direct question, just think about it. 5 feet 6 feet away from, 5 feet 6 inches away from the property line, or a neighbor 5 feet 6 inches away from the property line. Is that something you're looking forward to? I'm not. I'm sure the other neighbors that don't want that either. They're just too shy to say anything about it. I've never been shy about things. Ask anyone who knows me. Anyway, I'm saying that's no good. It's not in the best interest of the neighborhood or the city of Massillon. And it also creates a hazard. Being so close to our house, if one of our houses catches on fire, that creates a potential problem and a flame up the neighboring house. That's something that we haven't had, I don't want to see it. Anyway, that's my point. We can't have it. Now, you people who think that's a good thing to have, to cram that in there with a shoehorn, well, I pity you. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Bruce, did you sign the paper?
Oh, no, I had.
Thank you.
My name is Tom Summelsberger, and I'm the builder for Mr. Miller and Mrs. Miller. We're 70 feet.
I don't think that mic is on.
We're 70.
Yeah.
It's right at the top.
My name is Tom Summelsberger, I'm the builder for Mr. and Mrs. Miller. He's actually 70 feet from his house to the property line. You can actually build a garage 3 feet from your property line. And he's talking about a fire. A garage is a lot worse than a house. So I can build a garage in the back of their property, 3 feet off the side, and the west, and 3 feet off the side. And it is absolutely to code. We're 5'6". His lot is pie shaped. So what we're trying to do is make it aesthetically appeasing and not look like a sore thumb. It'll be all in brick. This is not going to be, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be very nice. So he's talking 5 feet, 6 inches. How about a garage 3 feet, which is legal per your codes, city codes. And it's 70 feet from the back of his house. So he could actually build a garage on the back of his property, 3 feet off their property line. I just want to bring that so everybody knows boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, Councilman Gray?
Thank you, Madam President. At this point, I'd like to make a motion that we enter into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G4 to review negotiations and bargaining sessions with public employees of the Massillon Fire Department concerning their compensation and other terms and conditions of their employment. I'd like to invite Mayor Kazero Perry, Safety Service Director Sylvester, Chief Register, Law Director Andy Skaza, Attorney Leslie Iams-Kuntz, all of council, council president, and council clerk.
Second by Councilman Manson, roll call.
Cunningham?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Littman?
Yes.
Manson?
Yes.
Sterrett?
Yes.
And Creamer.
Yes.
9 yes to exit into executive session.
We will enter into executive session. Councilman Gray?
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we return from executive session.
Second by Councilman Manson, roll call.
Gray?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Littman?
Yes.
Manson?
Yes.
Sterrett?
Yes.
Creamer?
Yes.
And Cunningham.
Yes.
9 yes to exit executive session.
Thank you. We have exited executive session, back into our regular meeting. You know, I love to do that. Introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 117, 2019.
An ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Massillon, Ohio, to execute a release agreement with Rover Pipeline, LLC, for the release of the Road Use and Maintenance Agreement, RUMA, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Irwin?
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, as Sarita discussed with you last week, this is just a release in the agreement between the City of Massillon and River Pipeline LLC, and I believe there was no No questions or anything? And I believe everything's been taken care of as far as any damages or Dave, can I take them up?
Yes, our engineering department did check out the road and everything and found, no issues.
Any questions? Linda?
And just to confirm, the payment that was part of the contract has already been received.
Quite some time, yes.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilman Manson?
Yeah, so that means they're finished.
Yes, all,
They're
all,
not
yeah,
gonna be on our streets.
yeah, all their equipment top members, yes, they finished it up a while ago. Any other questions? Any other questions? I'd like to make a motion with or requiring 3 readings and bring ordinance 117-2019 to a vote.
Second by Councilman Gray. Roll call.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes?
Manson,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
and Gray.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 suspension.
And for passage.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes?
Manson,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
and Harris.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 117-2019 is passed. Ordinance number 118-2019.
An ordinance requesting the City Council of the City of Massillon, Ohio to consider and vote to reject a State of Ohio State Employment Relations Board report and recommendation of a fact finder, case number 2018 MEP 05-0518, and to continue negotiations with the Massillon Firefighters, IAFF, local number 251, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Gray.
Thank you, Madam President. This is the ordinance we discussed in the executive session. There was obviously some urgency with this. I plan to bring it forward for a vote unless there are other questions or concerns. Mr. Manson?
Yes, vote is to reject.
A yes vote is to reject.
Thank you. Any other? Seeing none, I move that we waive the rules requiring 3 readings and bring ordinance number 118-2019 forward for a vote.
Second by Councilman Lippman. Roll call.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes?
Manson,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
and Irwin.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 suspension.
And for passage.
Littman,
Yes?
Manson,
Yes.
Sterrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
9 yes, 4 passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 118-2019 has passed. Ordinance number 119-2019.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of 1401 income tax improvement, capital improvement fund for the upgrade to the front entrances of the Justice and Police Departments in order to be ADA compliant for the year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes, this is the ordinance that these doors, that would be part of this facility that we're in now, do have a cost of, I believe, $50,000 is what we're looking at, having to appropriate from the stock. We do have, some quotes here. It looks like there are multiple quotes for different pieces of the job, instead of one quote for the entire job. I also have some questions about I think some people have brought up like the law and how this would align to the law that says, to get compliant. My initial inclination was just to give a first reading, but if there's anybody that wants to have discussion tonight, I would open up the floor for that.
Any questions or comments? Councilman Kramer.
I just have a question. Are we going to get other quotes, since this is really one quote with multiple pieces and parts?
I would have that information.
Thank you, Sylvester.
Good evening. Yes, we did make an attempt to get additional quotes. We did struggle with that, Rick Zilla and myself. We had probably 3 other vendors that we reached out to, and we're not available to get quotes from them, either because of their workload at this particular time or because of the type of setup that we were putting down there in regards to where it's at in front of our security. You see the multiple quotes here. We also wanted to be in conjunction with ProTech, who is doing and has done in the past the security for our buildings, because again, we want to make sure that we address the fire code as well as we address the code if we need to lock down the facility. And that's the piece that ProTech is putting into it for us. So we did have companies who declined to quote for us. And the other pieces that are there are, to go along with it. And I did have Frank also get quotes for the signs downstairs, that we're going to redo the signs in the areas down there as well, to get that up to date.
Councilman Goodman?
Based on the pieces and parts that you have here, does this total fall under the $50,000 that you're requesting?
It might be a little bit over the 50,000 now that I could just included the signs in there with it. But I figure at this point going forward, we want to know, but it's just going to be a little over 50,000, so it shouldn't be any problems coming out of the 1401 account, so the auditor is well aware of it as well.
Anyone else? Councilman Manson?
I'd just like to see that,
Microphone, please.
I'd like to see that in the past we found certain glass to be highly competitive. And I know they are competitive because they do a lot of work north of here. So they're probably competing with people that have, high cost of operation. And, very few complaints about their work. So I'd be supportive of this.
Councilman Harris, did you have something?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to say that I'd be more inclined to vote for this if I had a better idea of what it's going to cost to bring the entire building up to ADA compliancy. Maybe we can look into that or not. I don't know if that matters to anybody else.
The entire building in regards to what else needs to be.
Bathrooms.
We're working on that, but we thought it was most important to at least get the doors combined at this particular time, but we are getting close. The bathrooms are going to be larger construction than what we're able to do with this immediately.
Anyone else? Councilman Manson?
I know talking to the guys on the equipment downstairs that are gonna be in and out. Sometimes they get called into action to help get people in and out of this building that someone's going to struggle. So we do need to get it done.
Councilman Lewis?
Mr. Jurgensen, it seems like last week there was a lot of questions. This week is a little bit more subdued. Is there a need to go to second reading? Or do we want to take care of this this evening? I'm impartial either way.
Councilman Seer?
I think I would prefer if we could move it forward. I think this is something that needs to be addressed. As I said last week at the work session, this is one of our most used buildings in the city, and, the entire general public needs access for one reason or another to this building almost every single day. There's a ton of people in and out of here. And as Paul mentioned, sometimes the security personnel have to help people in and out, so this is clearly something that needs to be addressed.
Councilman Harris?
I don't have a problem moving it forward either. I'm just looking for a good faith initiative, I guess, from the administration to get some quotes moving on the rest of the building. It's great to get people with disabilities into the building, but if they can't use the bathroom while they're here, that's an issue.
We're going to have to hire an architect in order to be able to do that next step, and that's the process we're at right now. So we'll have to go out and do requests for qualifications, and that's at the step that we're at right now for the restrooms.
Councilman Living?
A question I had last week was Johnson Controls and whether they were going to be able to give us any information on the ADA, and Barb had answered that prior to meeting today, saying that they are not going to be involved at all in being able to provide us with any information or recommendations on the ADA compliance.
Councilman Lewis?
Seeing what would appear then that most of the members of council have their questions satisfied, I would make a motion to suspend rules requiring 3 readings, bring ordinance number 119-20194 forward.
Second by Councilman Manson, roll call for suspension.
Manson,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Whitman.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Starrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
and Hanson. 9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 119, 2019 is passed. Ordinance number 120, 2019.
An ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of 1100 general fund for the neighborhood community fair related expenses and Christmas parade related expenses for the year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes, this ordinance is a total of $550. It's passed. Any questions? Seeing none, make a motion to suspend rules requiring 3 readings, bring ordinance number 120-20194 forward.
Second by Councilman Lippin, roll call for suspension.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
and Starrett.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
and Kramer.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 120, 2019 is passed. Ordinance number 121, 2019.
An ordinance making certain transfers in the 2019 appropriations from within the 1100 general fund to cover code enforcement salary and costs due to staff addition for the year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Lewis?
This is a transfer in funds that is to cover the additional code enforcement officer that we have taken on this year. Are there any questions or discussions? Seeing none, making a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings, bringing ordinance number 121-20194 to a vote.
Second by Councilman Starrett, roll call for suspension.
Gray,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
and Cunningham.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
and Gray.
Yes.
9 yes for passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance number 121, 2019 is passed. Ordinance number, resolution number 6, 2019.
A resolution denying the appeal made to the Massillon City Council on September 10, 2019, wherein the Zoning Board of Appeals approved the variance from the Massillon zoning code for a proposed addition at 1225 Spring Hill Avenue Northeast on parcel number 603368 and parcel number 613642 in the city of Massillon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Manson?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Talk about one that we discussed it before, spent a lot of time on this. We asked, we had a problem with the 5.6 feet on the original request for the variance, and it should have been addressed. It was an error. So we asked the zoning board to go back and have another meeting and reconsider that with the 5.6 feet, 5 feet 6 inches. They did that. It was unanimous. This is not unreasonable. These people are building a very fine home. I think you can go all around Massillon and you can find situations like this all over town. Variances are, you know, we do have codes that need to be consistent, but we also have a system to be able to make exceptions, which you have to brought up, there were 5 variances that night, every one of them was approved. Many, many, many variances approved, are approved. Some are rejected and maybe are just way over the top, but this is not. This is just reasonable. We gotta get an investment here, and they're owning this town, and they wanna stay here, and I think it's time to move this forward. If I don't hear any objections, I intend to waive the rule. Hearing none, I make a motion to waive the rule requiring 3 separate readings and bring resolution 6/2019 forward. Or let's make sure clear how we do this. We want to reject this resolution, right? Denying it.
And yes vote would deny the appeal, and no vote would fall in favor of the appeal.
Yes.
So if you are wanting to be in
We
favor.
want to deny the appeal. We're getting, that's approving the zoning board's decision. So yes vote would deny the appeal. So did I make the motion?
Yes, and it's seconded by Councilman Cunningham. Roll call for suspension.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
Garrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
and Harris.
Yes.
9 yes for suspension.
And for passage.
Lewis,
Yes.
Littman,
No.
Manson,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
No.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
No.
and Irwin.
Yes.
That would be 6 yes and 3 no. For passage.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, resolution number 6/2019 is passed. Is there any unfinished business?
No, there is none.
Are there any petitions and general communications?
Yes, we have a request for a transfer of liquor license from Elks One Incorporated doing business as Firehouse Grill and Pub, first floor and patio only, 48 2nd Street Southeast, Massillon, Ohio, 44646, to Red Rocket of Massillon Incorporation, first floor and patio only, 48 2nd Street Southeast, Massillon, Ohio, 44646. It is located in Ward 2, and permit classes are D1, D2, D3, and D3A.
Councilman Irwin, have you received these?
Yes, I have.
And we also have a request for a TREX, which I had to call down to the Liquor Board of Control because I had no idea what that was. But it is considered as an economic transfer of the liquor license for Aldi's Incorporated, doing business as Aldi Incorporated, number 64, 3015 Glendale Avenue, Suite 500, Toledo, Ohio, 43614. To Aldi Incorporated, Ohio, doing business as Aldi Incorporated, number 76, 3541 Erie Street South, Massillon, Ohio, 44646. It is located in Ward 4, and permit classes are C1 and C2.
Councilwoman Kramer, did you get copies of those?
Yes, I did.
Okay. They've been read to the proper committees. Are there any bills, accounts, and claims?
Yes, we have a bill in the amount of $489.60 for the publication of our July ordinances. We also have a bill in the amount of $26.02 to Keller Office Furniture for office supplies. Total amount of $515.62.
Councilman Lewis,
Make a motion to pay the bills.
seconded by Councilwoman Littman. Roll call.
Littman,
Yes.
Manson, Starrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gregg,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes.
9 yes to pay the bills.
Any reports of state officials?
Yes, we have the auditor's report for July 2019.
Councilman Lewis,
Make a motion that we receive the auditor's report.
second by Councilman Starrett, roll call.
Manson,
Yes.
Starrett,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
and Benton.
Yes.
9 yes to accept the auditor's report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The auditor's report has been accepted. Reports of committees. Our next work session is not next Monday. It will not be until the 30th, since there are 5 Mondays in a month. Okay. Resolutions, request of council members. Councilman Manson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I have something I'd like to talk about.
Microphone, please.
Something I'd like to talk about, not exciting, but I feel it's necessary, especially since we didn't revisit the income tax. 2 meetings ago here, I asked when the 90% income tax was being talked about raising, going back to 100%. I asked when that was amended, that we take it back to committee and discuss it some more. It went back to first reading. There are very, very few times that I have ever told somebody here, no, we wouldn't do that. But I was told I just more or less promise I'll forget it. And that created the attitude that I had when I came in here last week. And it hasn't changed a bit, only gotten worse. A number of council people here weren't even on when this thing started. So I think we need to go back and go through the history of this thing a little bit. I didn't have everything in front of me at the time, but I do have much of it, not all of it now. And I want to start going through some of this, and I want to show some of you what was looked at in the history of this thing and why it upset me so much that this went on. All I heard is what we're doing for our constituents, so only keeping our promise to them. We have other constituents that live and work and have businesses in this city, and they're gonna keep right on paying the street levy. But we have a street levy, and I bet this is exactly what we voted on. This came from Stark County. Shall the ordinance providing for a 0.2% levy increase on income from 1 8/10% to 2% to be effective January 1st, 2017 for 5 years for the purpose of city street maintenance and repair in the city street department to be passed. Be passed. Now, nowhere in here does it say that we're going to pass this in 2016, put it into effect on January 1st of 2017, and then we're going to turn around and go back and say, look, you people who work outside of town that have a tax credit, we're going to lift that 0.2 off of you after 2.5 years. Not the 5, but we agree. Like I said, people who weren't here may not know. I've got ordinances going back, and I've got just general discussion where the first 2 times it was defeated, what we said that it was going to be just 0.2. Nobody even considered the language. It was going to be at 100% credit on the 1.8, but everybody was going to pay the 0.2. Everybody. And if you read the ordinances that we dealt with, we had one in June 20th of 2016. It said the municipal income tax is raised to 2% effective January 1st, 2017. Credit for tax paid to another municipality shall revert to a tax credit of 90%. I believe at that time we had a 75% credit because of what we did for the fiscal emergency. said I thought it was outrageous. I think on that one of these here, Tony Townsend even signed it. Tony Townsend was the president at the time. It was done on the 8th day of September 2015. I think at that point we thought we were going to have an early election the following year, like in May. But after we considered it, we decided it might be more effective for us if we waited till August to do it. But we went around telling everybody that everybody was going to pay the 2/10. Everybody. Now they're not. All of our employees who work here in the city, they're going to pay the 2/10. People here on this council, they're going to pay a little bit on what they make as a council, but they're not going to be paying it on the $50,000 or $60,000 they're making outside of the city. But everybody else is. And, that's what upset me so much. You need to consider these things. This is where politicians, we just totally said, all that stuff we said we were campaigning for a year and a half or 2 years, we had 3 different proposals that we voted on. Forget all that stuff. Now that it passed, we're going to take it off for the people who live and work in another city. That is unfair. That is unfair. There's not much that can be done about it now, but I want everybody in Massillon to know about that. It takes money to run a city. I have people calling me weekly, wanting to know if they can get their alleys taken care of, if they can get their catch basins taken care of with cones on them, if they can get their catch basins taken care of with metal plates, which are very dangerous. And we're not doing it. With the information I have, in the first year, 2017, we figured this roughly now, what this is going to cost us is $363,630 annually. That's based on 2017. We have a lot more tax revenue coming in today than we did in 2017. I'm sure you're aware of that, Mr. Edward, Mr. Bliss.
Right.
Yes, a lot more. So that 363,000, not 363,000. That may be 450, or maybe even higher. Now we're approaching with the 2 years that they don't have to pay. That's $1 million. $1 million. We talked about loving to have $1 million to use on the streets, and now we just said it out of it. Okay. Where do you think you're going to? It's good to talk about the residents that you took care of that work out of the city and increase their credit. But there are a lot of residents in the city that are just going to keep right on paying this. Nobody talks about that. They supported this thing. The people that work out of town, like I told you, I haven't had anybody say they really wanted that done. I was selling it to people all the time. Everybody's going to pay that 2/10. I feel like I got stabbed in the back. I'm a taxpayer here. Come on now. This is ugly, ugly politics. And we know why it was done. We know exactly why it was done. And very unfair to the Massillon residents that are going to keep on paying this. And very unfair in that we do not, our infrastructure is not up to snuff. We may have a great show going on down here in the middle of town, but as I said, we have catch basins with metal plates that have been on for probably 2 years. We're adding cones to these catch basins. There are more and more of them. I talked to a person the other night up here at Plain Bay, said, I got one right in front of my house. Nothing wrong with my street, but the catch basins gave it. We haven't got to it. We went from spending from 2012 to 2015, when we were in serious trouble, and we weren't getting anything done already around here. We spent $760,000 in 3 years on catch basins. That's a little over $250,000 a year. We jumped that to $435,000, then we jumped that to $500,000, and we jumped that to $550,000, and we're still way behind. So we're gonna give back maybe $1 million of tax that we would have gotten that in 2 years. That's irresponsible. That's exactly what I was getting at. It is irresponsible. I've talked to people that even have to pay it, they didn't have a problem paying it. Now, when you get to, it'll be up in what, 2020, the end of 2021, so we'll have to have something new in place in 2022, or it's all going to be gone if we can't get it passed. It will all be gone. Now, do you think you're gonna go out there and get these people that you gave them their tax credit back 100% now that they come back and back you in 2 more years from now? Do you think the people that have had to keep paying this thing and then have you pull the rug off from under them and give a special group a break that they're going to want to jump and pay this? You guys are kidding yourself. This is irresponsible. And I'm not done with it yet. I have more information coming. We sold this thing for 2 years. We didn't talk about 90%. We talked about 100% credit on 1.8, and everybody pays the 2, and that's the way it is. We told everybody that for 2 years. Then we came around and we said, no, it's going to be 90%. Everybody is going to get a 90% credit, okay? But they'll be paying the 2/10. That's what it figures out to. I thought, well, yeah, that's fine. But I didn't expect to go 2.5 years and have somebody forced to go away with it. I didn't go campaigning for 1.5 years trying to get this thing passed. Taxes are not easy to work on, but they are a necessity for a city or a school or anybody to operate. And I can't believe that more than one person doesn't feel that way.
Councilman Lewis?
I just want to point out a couple of things. First off, I understand what Mr. Mankey's saying, but his numbers are highly speculative. There is no way to say that the impact will be $450,000 next year and up to $1 million. That's pure guessing. You have no way to know that the income coming in is coming in from either economic development within the city, townships, which people such as myself, I work in a township, so I still pay the full 2% to the city. So if there's economic development in the township, that would be new revenue to the city at full rate. So I would hate for us to come forward and just guess at numbers and put that out there that we're sacrificing $1 million. That's just not that. We don't know that number. If someone wants to run a report and show where the development and new money's coming in and the impact, then that's fine. But that's not what we said. As far as, the 90% and 75%, I will say that, at one point we did have it at 75%. At that point, it was $1 million that was coming in. We passed the street levy that took it to 90%. The street levy brings in $2.2 billion. So the street levy gets effectively replaced all those dollars. I didn't hear anyone on council, a whole lot of people at that time complaining about the $1 million that we were taking from citizens without their consent, which is what the crux of this issue is, that the tax credit is taking money from citizens without their consent. The last point, as far as, if you think we'll come out in a couple of years in support of a levy, now that we've done this, I guess my opinion on that is I do not feel like holding the wallets of citizens hostage just to get them to vote for a levy in a couple of years. That to me would be unfair as well. So those are all the comments I have to make tonight.
Councilman Hanson?
First of all, what you were saying that I can't say that about that amount of money, you know that our tax revenue is growing. Okay, you know that. Our income tax revenue is growing. I even have it here maybe. No, I don't have it that exactly. That's part of the reason that I wanted to have a meeting that we bring all of these other things out. But in 2016, the first year that we had 2017, the first year we had this. Okay, 16, we spent 700,000 road repaving. 2017, that was the first year. We knew we would not get all the revenue in 2017. We got 1,387,000. Okay, it went from 700,000 the year before to 1,387,000. Went up over $600,000 because of the tax ordinance that we had. 2017, 1,387,000. 2018 went from that 1,387,000 to 1,972,000. Okay, and we're still not caught up. But that revenue is increasing like that, and I'm telling you, it's going to continue increasing. It probably, right now, it's probably at the $450,000 mark. We should get those, and we will have those exact numbers. When trends start on taxes, they don't hit a wall and stop unless you have a 2008 type of recession that everything just hits the wall. Tax revenue, you can go back and pull 20 years and check our income tax revenue, and it goes like this, and then it goes like this. It doesn't go like this and then wham like this. And it also doesn't turn around and go wham back up. It starts and it gradually starts increasing again as the economy picks up. And that's exactly what's going on. We're getting more and more taxes on that, but we are still far behind. You made a statement about the roads, well, we're still going to have a road program. Yes, you are. But hopefully, at the end of the 5 years, we're not going to be looking at having to put $1.5 million or $2 million or $3 million in per year to get caught up. Hopefully, we're getting close to caught up, and then we can just start saying this is going to cost us and make a better projection on what it is going to cost. We have potholes in the summertime. To think we're going to go through a winter and we're not going to have more potholes, every year it happens. And this is a terrible decision, terrible. And it puts a bad face on politicians.
Councilman Lewis?
I just have a question. I'm trying to understand all the numbers and information you put out there, Mr. Mason. You said that in 2017 we had about 1.3, and in 2018 1.9, or maybe 2016 was 1.3 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that growth is on the growth from 1.8 to 2 as everything all together. The 90% credit that we're talking about, when we took it from 90% to 100%, the impact to that particular fund that you're referencing was only $35,000. So at most, even if it's grown, it might be 40,000 or so. That number of 360 has general fund, parks, and street levy. You're quoting the .2, the street levy portion, and you're expanding it to the complete number, but you can't do that mathematically. So 263,000, 270,000 is going to be general fund, about 55,000 is the impact on parks, and about 35,000 to 40,000 is the impact of the street levy, which is the $2 million that you're quoting. The rest of that money has nothing to do with that $2 million. Do we have the freedom to use it on projects? Absolutely. To that point, I would agree. I just want to make sure we all understand we're kind of mixing a couple funds here, and they don't actually align quite like that.
I'm glad to go back and look at
Mike?
it, but pardon me. I'm glad to go back and look at it, but I know that it's increasing. It's a bigger number now than it was in 2017. Only nothing but logic tells me that. If I look at these other numbers, and we're up, we were able to spend 700,000, then $1.3 million, then $1.9 million. Now, right now, we're talking $3.7 million. Well, we know what that's all about. Streetscape, we got a lot of extra money injected for one project here. But in a year or two, you're going to be right back on the same trend, unless the economy slows down. But if it accelerates, it's going to even grow more. The point is, this was a simple little, this is what was on the ballot. 3 lines there to get the people to vote for this thing. It was very simple, and they gave it to us. And now we're playing games with it. When you get it, you show me when we're caught up to to a reasonable level. You wanna take it off after 5 years, that's, take it off after 5 years. Or in 5 years, you can come back and say, hey, we needed a lot for 5 years. Maybe we can reduce this thing. Maybe it can be less. Maybe we don't need 2/10 out of everybody. Maybe just 1/10. We could take it down to 1.9 maybe. But now you're gonna have a hard time selling. Because I guarantee you, I'm gonna be out working against it and making these things known.
Councilman Gray?
Mr. Manson, I'm obviously one of the people you're referring to when you're talking about people on council that was not, were not on council when this was all passed. However, I've lived in the city of Massillon for 22 years, been a taxpayer that entire time, kept abreast of what's going on with city finances. I don't see how you can say that removing a credit for the people that work outside of town is wronging the people that work inside of town. It's not changing their taxes at all. And the fact that the numbers you state that tax revenue is increasing, to me, is an even better reason not to have the credit because we're getting taxes from everybody. I don't agree that people that work outside the city of Massillon should bear the burden of the additional expenses you're talking about. I think that if they pay 100% up to the 2, and they're paying the same as the people who live in Massillon. So I don't understand why that would be wrong to the people who live in Massillon and work in Massillon.
Councilman Manson?
Because it's money that would have gone into the road program. And like I said, reading again, it was for 5 years. You want to read all the ordinances where it said we were gonna go 90% for this? Okay. Chapter 181, income tax, codified ordinances of the city of Massillon, acting new section 181, 031 bond. To reflect the increase in municipal income tax rate from 1 8/10 to 2%. To be effective January 1st, 2017, subject to approval of the electors of the city of Massillon at a primary election to be held in the spring of 2016. That's the one that had Tony Thompson's name on it. That's how far back we started messing around with that. Now then we have the next one that was in June 20th of 2016, since we decided not to run it in the March or May or whatever election, we decided we would run it in August. It's usually a low voting period. Okay. This ordinance is to take effect January 1st, 2017, only if the municipal income tax is increased to the amount of 2% at the special election to be held on August 2nd, 2016. In the event the income tax increase is defeated by such election, the ordinance shall be null and void. But it was passed by the voters, not us, by the voters. It was passed also with this in there, provided that the municipal income tax is raised to 2% effective January 1st, 2017, a credit for the tax paid to another municipality shall revert to a tax credit of 90% commencing January 1st. And there's more of that stuff in there, and there's more stuff that's not in the ordinances, that is in the literature that we used along the way to sell this thing like that. I had many, many, many people that asked me about how and who was going to pay it. What about the people that work out of town? And I said, the situation we're in, everybody's going to pay it for 5 years. I wouldn't be saying this if you guys took that thing off. If you came out, this thing's going to run through 2021, I believe it is. 2022, it would be up. Okay, so we have to be starting to work on this in 2021 if the people that are around, I'm just saying, we will, but I may not be here. But you're going to have to start working on it. It's going to have to be replaced, period. It could be replaced at a lower rate, but it's going to have to be replaced because that's all we have for streets now. We don't have enough money in the general fund. We'd be right back at 1 or 2% of capital improvement spending in no time flat if we lose the street levy.
Anyone else
guess the way I look at this is, whether it's 300,000 a year that it's gonna affect the general fund, or the street improvement project, 400,000 or 500,000, at the end of the day, you can either look at this two ways. How much is that 3 or 4 or 500,000 gonna get us in roads? Or how much is that 3, 4, or 500,000 going to inject into our local economy? Because if you haven't noticed, our local businesses are hurting pretty bad. That money's gonna go into our local businesses. Even if it is $100 for the average person, that's 2 more times I get to take my family out to dinner. That's 2 more pairs of pants Sally down the road can get for her son. That's important, something to think about.
Anyone else?
I know a lot about economics, and I don't buy that story right there. You know, we had a problem to take care of, and we haven't taken care of it. Like I said, I get calls about alleys all the time. You know what I tell them? We're working on our streets. When we get caught up, we'll do alleys. I don't like telling people that. I like to tell them we can get the stuff done right now. But if we're gonna give money away, we're not going to be able to do that. I've been complaining about catch basins, and you know that every year. You've been around here, even if you weren't here before when we did this. 500,000 is not enough. Joel Smith said we may have 7,000 catch basins that need done. And we're doing a couple hundred a year or something like that? Come on. And you ever break on taxes that the people were willing to go along with because it was for streets? I admit, it'll take a little money out of somebody's pocket that maybe would have been spent at Smiley's or someplace like that. But we needed it for the streets, and we went and appealed to the people, and that's what we got.
Anyone else? Councilman Harris?
With all due respect, Mr. Manson, we're not giving the money away, we're giving it back to the people who earned it.
Anyone else? Thank you. Moving on, call the calendar. 14, third reading ordinances and resolutions, there are none. Number 15, second reading ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 114, 2019.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 68-2012, effective January 1st, 2020, and reinstating the increase in pay based on the previous year's United States Consumer Price Index for the council president and council members, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Manson?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This is another great one to talk about. I don't really care about this. You made some statements, Mike, that you didn't really care about what you made when you came on council. I don't either. I didn't then, and I don't now. The reason I looked at this is because I was asked by council people, and I was asked by the elected people in the administration to look at the pay raises. You may think we're part-time, but I'm gonna tell you what, if you didn't pay for this job, I don't think a lot of people would be wanting this job. And you and I didn't determine that it's paid for, we determined what level it's paid at. But the state of Ohio determined that these jobs are gonna be here and they're gonna be paid by an Ohio revised code. And until we get people coming forward, and I'm telling you, I had at least 3 people on council, started in April. If you remember, we went and got stuff from Warren, Barberton, New Philly. Why did we even waste our time? Why didn't somebody speak up and say we just don't want to do this? Just like this thing back here. I mean, come on. There was hardly a word said. That's why I wanted to talk about that. Hardly a word said about this stuff. Then we're going to separate council people from these other elected people here. Andrea, she's elected, mayor's elected, the auditor, the treasurer, they're elected. What, we're going to give them raises? They've been getting bigger raises than all these people here right now. But I don't really care about it. But I thought it would be something good to get it in place. And right away, you turned it into a political hassle. And I said when we started back in April. That's what I was trying to avoid. That's why it was done by those people. I talked to those people at that time to avoid having this happen every 2 years, just turning it into a political football. And that's what it is now. And honestly, they should be together. All, that should have been one ordinance, and I know I said one ordinance at one time. I let it come through as two, but I shouldn't. The mayor, the auditor, the law director, the treasurer, city council president, they should all be on the same ordinance, all handled the same way. To go out and do one and don't do the other, forget it. Just don't do any of them. You heard it in there, we got employees underpaid. You heard that in there, okay? If we're gonna do something about it, we need to do something about all of it. But it's not, the way it's set up like that, is not to gouge anybody. There are people that were saying we need to increase council salaries significantly so we can get better people. Would we get more money? Would we get a better person than you, Mike? Is that what they were saying? I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I mean, I make a living, but I'm never worried about what I made. Never worried about what I made.
Councilman Gray?
Ms. Mason, I agree that typically to get better people, you need to have better compensation. I don't think that's true in a part-time position. I do think that's true in the elected officials position. That's why I would support a raise. And in this case, we're not talking about a raise. We're talking about putting the mechanism in place for going forward for automatic increases. But you know as well as I do, it's going to be perceived as a raise. And I don't support that for council, but I would support it for elected officials because I believe we do need to attract good talent. And I think for a full-time position in the city government, higher compensation would help to do that.
Anyone else? Councilman Manson?
Well, I've operated in business for a long time, and I heard that stuff about, all the time by administrators, that you had to pay more money to get better people. And that's not true. There are a lot of very good operating places where people are relatively happy with what they're making, and it's not sky high, but they have good jobs and they're taken care of well. It isn't just dollars and cents. But it still makes no sense when we're acting on something like this to separate it. Either do it with them or just vote them all down and forget it. Second reading.
Thank you, Councilman Manson. Ordinance number 114, 2019 has received second reading. Ordinance number 115, 2019.
Second reading. Oh, I'm sorry.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 69-2012, effective January 1st, 2020, and reinstating the increase in pay based on the previous year's United States Consumer Price Index for the mayor, auditor, law director, and treasurer, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Manson.
One thing I would like to say, two things. The people that want this raise should come up and start speaking about it openly. We have a lot of people that want it, that are afraid to come out and support it. So they let us break down into arguments like this. So get them in here and let them support it. If you don't, I say make it go away. Just forget them. Second reading.
Thank you. Ordinance number 115, 2019 has received second reading. Is there any new miscellaneous business?
No, there is none.
Order number 17 on the agenda. Anyone from the audience can come forward and speak to any matter that did not appear on tonight's agenda. If anyone would like to do so, please come forward, state your name, address, and topic you wish to discuss.
Sure. My name is Linda Miller, 1225 Spring Hill.
I don't think that microphone's on.
Oh, I'm sorry. What do I do? Button?
Is that better? Thank you.
just wanted to thank the council members that supported our variances. And this has not been easy, but I can personally guarantee that what we want to do is not in any way going to be a detriment to our neighbor or neighborhood. We lived there for 45 years. 3 different neighbors came and wanted to come with us and support. And we said, no, we trust the process. So I thank you, and feel free to stop by anytime, and you can see what we're doing. Thanks.
Thank you, Linda.
Wow, Mr. Manson, maybe me and you could have a beer over a gent or something. This has been a long day, thanks. Forgot what I was gonna say, but I remember it real quick. LG DeLuca, 2954 Veterans Boulevard, Southeast Massillon, Ohio. Madam President, hello. President Pro Tem, Paul Manson, hello. All council members. Jason Harris, councilman, all the councilmen, I want to thank you for your service as a Marine. My dad has been in the Army, a lot of my relatives in there, and I caught your thing on with my friend Josh McClack there. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your service, and anybody else that I'll be being arranged. I appreciate you, Jason. I want to start a little bit here about economic development. I've been on this for a while. I'm beating the old drum like the Indians up there. I'm going to pack a little bit around it. The city of Massillon is not like Las Vegas, where we're rolling the dice and see what happens here, folks. First off, economic development. If you work outside of the city, a lot of my friends do, that's part of economic development. Some of you may not create it. Let's give it to them. We're doing streetscape, my gosh, for $2.5 million. You got 7,000 basins? I talked to Joe Smith too. You're right. You're right on. Spot on. Almost that. Affinity Medical Center, $6,800 a day. $204,000 a month, Josh, and over $1 billion in 5 months. We got a hard date, I think, for a lot of you. I talked to you, set up by the mayor, December 31st, 2019. Now, we either got to tear that thing down, or we got to make, well, we're going to start losing money in this hospital. I heard a big whopper one year that the clinic might buy at Mercy Medical Center. A well-respected doctor close to some of these politicians in Massillon, Ohio. Kind of made that comment to me, and I started thinking, well, maybe we could put the Altman Massillon ER Band-Aid on ice. And I remember that song, I think a lot of you people remember. Ice, ice, baby, ice, you know, ice, ice, baby, ice, ice, baby, ice. We can put that ER and Band-Aid on ice. I'm not too happy about that Affinity Medical Center. Streetscape. I went down and I visited Streetscape down there. Thank you, Madam President. I visited Streetscape, and I took a picture. We got about 10, and I like Central Alien Presents because they were one of my accounts back in the day. They got about 10, 12 people working on this side, and I got pictures right with me right now on my smartphone. And we got about 0 on the other side. You mean we can't do, Mayor? We can't get this done? Then I understand you hired somebody to oversee the project, okay? We don't have economic development in this town. We need a change. This streetscape may be aesthetically beautiful, and people get their nails done at some salons here in town, but we don't need any aesthetics anymore. We need you to get going and get this thing going. What it is, Mayor, is the fact, I'm not asking you questions because I know you won't answer. What it is, Mayor, is you got this thing going and it should have been done a long time ago. In retrospect, I ended up here. I think that you should have been a year and a half and had it open instead of have a dead city like a bomb. It's terrible.
Thank you, Mr. DeLuca. Anyone else?
James Hobstow, 2443 Whitmore Avenue Southeast. Good evening, Council. Just wanted to talk in general about the city and just, again, things I'm talking to people about on the street. Mr. Manson, this may shock a lot of people in this room, but I think you're half right. I think there's a lot of things that have been neglected and not taken care of in the city over a consistently long period of time. And the people, from what I can tell, as a citizen, me included, are tired of not having the basics taken care of. We always hear about streets, we hear about these catch basins and steel plates, we've talked about them a dozen times, 100 times. So you're halfway there. The problem is, you're correct, we need revenue to run the city, and this isn't about you, I'm not picking on you at all, because I appreciate what you're saying. This city needs taken care of. But the perception is, what's been done over the years, is we've ignored that over special pet projects. And we seem to have these phases of streetscape going on, while we have a hospital that's draining our finances. And the red button is coming. There's no doubt about it, and everyone in this room, I believe, knows that. We have to focus. People are asking me, they're joking about it. Why are we doing M's in Lincoln Way? Is it true we're doing M's in Lincoln Way? That's fine for a booming city. That is, once again, that is not economic development, those are public works projects. Now we're talking about phase 2. Most people in the city don't know what that is. When they find out we want to redo Duncan Plaza, they're like, are you kidding me? I'm just passing on information. I feel the same way as well. I think we could do some upgrades to Duncan Plaza for a lot less money. I'm so tired of hearing about we got a grant for it. I'm not going to teach my grandson because I get money from somewhere that we're going to blow it on things we don't need. I've never taught my kids that, and they are solid contributors to the society. They're solid contributors in Massillon, Ohio, and I'm going to continue to start to hold government accountable from my perspective. I'm not always right, but I'll tell you how we get the $375,000. If we would have created over the last 8 years simply 3 jobs per month at $65,000 per year, we would have created enough revenue to replace that $375,000. That $375,000, or the income from those 250 jobs would have created enough churning within this economy to have another coffee shop, to have some more bars, to have more restaurants open up in the city, because it would have churned, according to studies, about $200 million as it churned within this city. And that's income tax, that's sales tax, and so on, other things that affect other areas of the county. So we are not doing the things, we have not held ourselves as a city accountable for economic development, for attracting jobs, for bringing in from the smallest to the largest manufacturers. If we're going to have M's in the intersections downtown, let's let them stand, look at it from both sides, men and women, and make sure they're working in manufacturing. We're growing our economy, because that's the only thing that's going to bring us out of this mess, not increasing taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. Councilman Ayers?
Thank you, Madam President. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second by Councilman Steer. Meeting adjourned.